Okay, apologize for that. Let's go to the next one. So 3 lines. So above the line you have a factor of 6, a factor of x, the 4 is an exponent, and then a factor of y. The 3's are exponents. Now bottom we have a factor of 7, a factor of y, a factor of 2. Now I know I wrote 2 y's down, but when it's top bottom that rule doesn't apply. You just don't want 2 y's on top or on bottom. Or excuse me, you don't want 2 y's together on top or on the bottom if you want this to go as quick as possible. Okay, so let's talk about our 6. It's to the 1 power, but it's in parentheses with an outside 4, so 1 times 4 is 4. Now x, the top x, is to, there's only one of them on top to the first power. 1 times 4 is 4. The y, there's only one y on the top, it's to the third, but it's in parentheses, so 3 times 3 is 9. Now let's talk about our 7, okay? 7 is to the first power, but it's in the parentheses, so 1 times 4 is 4. Y is to the 1, but it's in parentheses, so 1 times 4 is 4. And the 2, 1 times 3 is 3. Are any of these little powers negative? Nope, so just copy it all down. 6 to the 4th times x to the 4th times y to the 9th. Oh no, whoops, I'm forgetting something. Okay. You need to cross things out. 6, I can't cross out any 6's. X, nope, no x's. Y's, yes, I can get rid of this smaller one. And then it was positive 4, so I do the opposite, subtract it, and that's going to be 5. Okay, now I come over here. Are any powers negative? Nope, so just copy everything down. On top you got 6 to the 4th times x to the 4th times y to the 5th. On the bottom you got 7 to the 4th times 2 to the 3rd. So, which can you figure? Can you figure out 6 to the 4th? Yep, 6 times 6 times 6 times 6. 1,296. So cross it out and put 1296 over here. Can you figure out what x to the 4th is? Nope. So leave it. Can you figure out what y to the 5th is? Nope. 7 to the 4th, you're darn right I could figure that out. And you don't have to write this out. If you know how to punch it on your calculator, you can do that. So 2,401. And that is on bottom. Can you figure out 2 to the 3rd? Yes, you can. 2 times 2 times 2. That's 8. Now those 2 letters I couldn't figure out, x to the 4th and y to the 5th, we just transfer those over. Now look at these big numbers. Well, you're going to times those, 2,401 times 8, so 19,208. Now, these 2 I have left, I divide the top by the bottom, but I got a decimal, so I'm just not going to write that. I'm going to leave it. Okay, next problem. So on top we got a factor of 6. There's another factor of 6, but since I already wrote the 6, I'm not going to write it again on top. Now we do have a factor of 6 on the bottom, which I'm going to write. Okay. So this factor of 6, look on top, okay? There's 2 6's, so we need to add, and we don't need to multiply the powers. We're just going to take 3 and add 2, and that's 5. And the 6 here would just be to the 3rd. Now, can you cross out anything? Yeah, you have a 6 on top and bottom, so I can get rid of the 6 to the 3rd and then minus it from 5. That's 2. So 6 to the 2nd. Okay. All right, 6 to the 2nd, we can figure that out. That's 6 times 6, and that would be 36. So I cross that out, put 36, and that's the answer. Okay. That's why I said it's important that you don't write a factor down more than once on the top. Okay, or the bottom for that matter. Okay, look along the top, you have a base of 7, base of x, a factor of 4, another factor of x, but I already wrote that down, okay? And then a factor of y. Okay, on bottom you have a factor of y and a factor of x. Now I know I wrote x and y on the top, but it doesn't matter, okay? When I go to the bottom, it's like it starts it over again. Okay, so 7, there's one factor of 7, so 1 times 3 is 3. Now I'm on to x's. How many factors of x's do we have on top? We have 2, so I put a plus sign. Now the first factor is to the first, but it's in parentheses, so 1 times 3 is 3, so I need to write a 3 down here. And then I go find the other x, it's to the third, okay? But it's in the parentheses, so I got to take 3 times 2, that's 6. 3 plus 6 would be 9. Now the 4. How many factors of 4 do we have on top? Just 1, okay? So the first 1 times 2 is 2. Okay, then how many factors of y do you have on top? Okay, just 1. Okay, y to the first, 1 times 2 is 2. Okay, now bottom. How many factors of y are there on bottom? Just this 1, but it's to the first, so I take 1 times 3, and that's 3. How many factors of x do we have on bottom? Just 1. It's to the first, so 1 times 2 is 2. Okay, do you have any, now can you cross anything off? Yes, 7 you can't. Oh yeah, x's. Get rid of the smaller one, and then minus 2 from the 9, which is 7. 4 can you cross out? Nope. Y can you cross? Yeah. The smaller one's up here, so we're going to get rid of the one up here, then minus 2 from there. That's 1, y to the first. Okay, so we have 7 third, x 7th, y 4 second, and then y to the first. Okay, that's a 1, first power. So no, there were no negatives, so I just bring over everything. So 7 to the third times x to the 7th times 4 to the second, and on bottom you have y to the first. Okay, so 7 to the third I can evaluate. Okay, 343. X I can't, okay. 4 to the second I can evaluate. 4 times 4, that's 16. Whoops, I shouldn't have brought that x to the second yet. Okay, so that's gone. Can't get rid of that yet. 4 to the second is 16. Then I can't get rid of that, so these I just bring over. But remember, put the x 7th on top and the y to the first on bottom. What do we have to do with these big numbers? Well, it says times, so I take 343 times 16, and that's 5,488. And there's not a big number on the bottom, so I'm done, okay? So 5,488 times x to the 7th over y to the first. Okay, so on top, what factors do you have on top? You have a factor of 6, a factor of a factor of b. Now on bottom, you just have a factor of a. Those other numbers are exponents. Okay, so on top, how many factors of 6 do we have on top? Just 1, so I don't need to add, just put a first power, but you have to take 1 times 4. Okay, now a, only one factor of a is on the top, so I go 3 times 4, that's 12. Now b, only one factor of b, 1 times 4 is 4. Okay, now on bottom we have a factor of a, it's to the 5th, but the parentheses just goes from here to here. It's not around the a to the 5th, so if that a to the 5th is not surrounded by a parentheses, I can just write 5 down. Now can we cross anything out? Yeah, these two. Minus 5, that would be 7, okay? All these are just brought over, 6 to the 4th times a to the 7th times b to the 4th. So 6 to the 4th can be evaluated, 6 times 6 times 6 times 6. 1,296, so I cross that out and put 1,296. And then I can't figure that out, I can't figure that out, so I just bring them over. Okay, and the last one. Look on top first. You have a factor of 8, a factor of A. These are powers. Another factor of A. Since I already wrote that down, don't write it again. Now go to the bottom. You have a factor of B and another factor of B, so I don't write it down again. Okay, so 8. 8's to the 1, but there's a parentheses around it, so we got to take 1 times 2. That would be 2. That's the only factor of 8 I have on top. Now there's 2 factors of A, so I need to add. Okay, what am I going to add? Well, not 4, because I got to take 4 times 2. That's 8. Not 2, I got to take 2 times 2. That's 4. So it's 8 plus 4, which is 12. Then my B, okay? How many factors of B do you have on the bottom? You have 2 of them, so we will want to add. So 1, but I don't want to write 1 down because it's in parentheses, so 1 times 2 is 2. And then I don't want to write 2 down because that's in parentheses, so 2 times 2 is 4. So 2 plus 4 is 6, okay? All right, just bring all that over. Remember, keep things where they're at. If they're positive, we keep them where they're at, which they always have been. And then 8 to the second would be 8 times 8. That's 64. Can't figure that out, can't figure that out, so I bring them over. Okay. That's all she wrote.